Welcome to the Hospitality Suite, the podcast that helps you live your best hotel life. Now, an interesting coincidence is just over a week ago, on the 3rd of September, my son Noah turned 10 years old. So we had fun celebrating his beautiful life, 10 years of just a precious life. And over a week later, I'm here with you recording my 10th episode on the Hospitality Suite podcast. Those two things alone have essentially inspired today's episode, especially Noah turning 10. As a little man growing into a young man, the one thing as a father that I really want to get right is to help him with his social skills, how to behave, etiquette, and decorum. Now, when it comes to dining and the world of restaurants in general, the two things that make you stand out as the top-class, sophisticated, traveler, well-groomed, seasoned person who knows how to handle themselves in a social scene in a sophisticated place is etiquette and decorum. Now, to continue celebrating Noah's 10th birthday and my 10th episode on the Hospitality Suite podcast, and to help you elevate your dining game as a world-class dining pro, I'm going to take you through these 10 essential points, and each one is going to be more delightful than the last. The first point is one that starts to signal that you may be a true player, true sophisticated player in the world of dining and elegance in general as far as restaurants are concerned. I call this pre-dinner perfection. So picture this. You're at an upscale restaurant, and before you even stepped into the dining area, you just go over to enjoy some pre-dinner drinks at the bar lounge. What it does is it sets the tone for the evening, and it allows you to anticipate your experience and just socialize in style. Now, if you are looking for that sweet spot that's going to grant you that perfect view of the ambiance while maintaining exclusivity, that air of exclusivity that you want when you are dining in a fancy restaurant, you want to practice point number 2, and that is strategic seating. What you want to do here is aim for a table away from the service area, but close to the window if the restaurant has windows. This is always the sweet spot to enjoy a perfect ambiance. You don't want to end up in some of these tables that we find ourselves occupying if we haven't done anything in advance or pre-selected our seating or requested a specific table. You know those tables where you've got the point of sale machine, you've got a traffic of staff going up and down, there's cutlery and noise and all sorts of commotion that really doesn't help your ambiance. So practice strategic seating. You're going to come across as a pro in the dining space. Now let's get a little bit fancy here. This is what I call the wine waltz, and it's point number 3. What you want to do here as each course arrives, you want to change your wine of choice. This practice not only enhances the flavors, but also showcases your appreciation for the art of wine pairing. It's very important if you want to come across as an experienced diner, a person who appreciates the fine art of food and wine pairing. Now, this next point might be a little bit difficult for many of us in this day and age, and this is point number 4, and it's phone etiquette. In a world where everyone's eyes are glued to screens, become the beacon of decorum. I talked about my son Noah earlier and wanting to teach him decorum as he grows into a young man. It's very important. What you want to do here is excuse yourself discreetly to take a phone call. Never resort to a loudspeaker or do some of the most ridiculous things that I see people doing these days at restaurants when they are supposed to be enjoying a nice dining experience, and that is to have Teams meeting. People will switch on a Teams call and have a full-on conference in a dining environment. I think it's absurd. Remember to also stand when the lady leaves or returns to the table. This is a mark of respect. It's old school charm. It just shows you off as a sophisticated and elegant diner. Point number 5 is all about making eye contact with elegance. What you want to do here is establish a connection with your server or your waiter or your waitress. And you need to do this through subtle yet meaningful eye contact. I just think there's something about this that just says class, respect, and just being engaged. It conveys that you appreciate and It just sets a welcoming tone for the evening for you, for the server, and for the people that you are hosting or the people that you are dining with. The sixth tip is about hanging your quote with charm. This is something that, should your hostess or maitre d' fail to offer, what you need to do is politely request them to hang your quote. It's a small gesture that speaks volumes about your attention to detail. The next essential tip actually reminds me of one of my favorite movies with Queen Latifah and LL Cool J. There's this chef in the movie, The Last Holiday. His name is Chef Didier. I think he's a French chef. And he's running one of the top restaurants in this fancy hotel. And when everybody comes down for dinner, he always makes it a point, and it's quite pedantic, to go up to them and say, no substitutes, no substitutes, no substitutions, huh? He doesn't want anything substituted from his menu. It's a masterpiece. And this is the point I'm trying to make. Chef's creations are a masterpiece. You need to resist the urge to alter your dish. Enjoy your food as it's served. This is the chef's masterpiece, and tampering with it, for a lack of a better word, contradicts with savoring every bite. And anybody who appreciates fine dining and wants to come across as an elegant diner wants to do exactly this, which is have the chef's creation as it is. So that was point number 7. On to point number 8, which is towards the grand finale. Now, as your meal comes to a close, what you want to consider here is ordering specialty coffees or fine whiskeys or some special cognacs, just to end off on a sophisticated note. You want to be top class, elegant. This is the exclamation point to your culinary journey. The 9th most essential tip that will see you stand out from the crowd as an elegant diner is asking for the chef to compliment him. Before you leave, just ask to speak to the chef and speak to him personally. Share your heartfelt compliments about the food. Chat about your overall experience. It's a bonus point that showcases your appreciation for culinary craftsmanship, and it just makes you stand out as a person who came here with the mission to enjoy an experience, to appreciate the offering, and it really will see you stand out. The last point is just as important as the rest of them, and this is generosity with your gratuity. Remember, tipping is an art in itself. Leaving more than a 10% tip is not unheard of. It shouldn't be frowned upon. There's no rules against it. And if you leave a cash tip, even better. Waiters often rely on tips. Most of their basic salaries are 20% of the take-home portion of their salary. The other 80% is made up of tips. So your generosity can make a big difference in a person's take-home salary, and it's a sign of being a sophisticated diner. If you had a fantastic experience, you are not bound or shackled by the conventional 10% that you always hear about. Obviously, this is discretionary. It's at your own will. It's not mandatory to do anything over and above the 10%. It's just one of those things that if you had a great experience, you come across as a top-class diner if you consider living more than a 10% and in cash if possible. So with these 10 points, you are polished and ready, and you are now equipped to just navigate the world of fine dining with grace and elegance. I hope you found these tips helpful to you, and as always, keep exploring, keep discovering, and keep embracing the world of hospitality. Cheers for now.